And we're down to my last step. And this, bakit hinuli ko siya? Because I think this is the most important. Like, it trumps all of the other tips that I have given you. Kasi pag nakuha mo na yung tip na to, pwede nang wala na yung iba. Hi guys, my name is Franz and welcome back to my channel. Ta-da! So hi there, I know it's been such a long time since I posted anything under Franz Talks, but right now, we're going to be talking about some tips on how you can effectively and efficiently answer accounting problems. I know, I've been there. There are quite a few problems which are very difficult to solve, as in, we've all been there, we've all stumbled upon problems which are difficult, if not impossible to solve. As in, grabe, sobrang hirap. No matter how much you search inside your brain for the information, no matter how many times you read a particular problem, there are really problems which are meant not to be solved. Diba? But that's not true. Because every time the teacher comes in and checks our papers, oh, there goes the answer. Oh, ganun pala dapat. Oh, I forgot to consider that particular word or that particular phrase because it could have made my solutions correct. Yes, I've been there. So, today again, I'm gonna be giving you some tips that I myself use every time I solve accounting problems. But yes, because as you might already know, I am also still studying accounting because I am currently a part-time accounting instructor. So, minsan nagsasolve din ako ng problems here and there. So, I use these tips, I use these methods for me to be able to effectively and efficiently answer them. Pero pag hindi na talaga kaya, give up na, call a friend. Diba? So, my first tip to you guys is to, this is very elementary. Why do I say so? Because this has been repeatedly told to us by our teachers, by our seniors, even by our classmates. But my first tip to you is to read the question first. I know, because there are several problems which are very long. Examiners will bombard you with a lot of facts. Examiners will bombard you with a lot of numbers, a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different circumstances, which are for most parts unnecessary and irrelevant. That's why before you actually read that lengthy problem, read the question first. What is being asked? For example, in a particular problem, how much is the cash and bank balance on December 31, 2019? Because when you go back to the problem, you already know what is being asked. And when you already know what is being asked, you're able to, this is my second tip, isolate the relevant items. So my first and second tips actually go hand in hand. So after you read the question, after you know what is being asked, now it's time for you to read the problem. And once you read the problem, you're able to isolate the relevant items, because there are several items or there are several facts in a particular problem that are not anymore important, that are irrelevant, that were put there in order for you to be confused. Yes, that's what an examiner wants you to feel at that moment when you're answering that particular problem, because I too am guilty of that as a teacher. I put several, facts that are a little bit irrelevant just so I could confuse the students. So, speaking from a teacher's point of view, it's very important if you read the questions first for you to be able to isolate the relevant information. For example, you're solving a problem in which what is being asked is the cash and bank balance for December 31, 2019. Once you already know that, you're able to isolate what are the relevant items, what are the relevant facts in the problem. For example, did he pay any liability? Or did he receive any receivable? Or did he collect any income during the month? Did he pay any expenses? Just so, because these items actually affect your cash and bank balance at the end of the year. I hope I'm making sense. Third tip is to stick with the problem at hand. Now, caveat, this tip for me only works when you know the coverage for the exam or the coverage for the quiz. Example, in class, you know that you're going to be having a quiz on accounts receivable, right? So during the quiz, stick on accounts receivable. Diba? Don't think about anything else. I know that you have read about cash. I know that you have read about inventories. I know that you have read about accounts payable. But the topic is on accounts receivable. So stick with accounts receivable. Please, do not let your mind wander on different ideas, on different facts, on different topics. Stick with the main problem. Stick with the main topic, and that is accounts receivable, for example. But as I said, this only works during siguro undergraduate when we have quizzes at the end of every chapter, we have exams at the end of every chapter. So actually, if you take a look at it, my first 3 tips are very much interrelated, or every single one of them are very much interrelated. Kasi nga, after you read the particular question, now you read the problem, and when you read the problem, you're able to isolate the relevant information. And you're able to isolate relevant information when you stick your mind, when you focus your mind on the problem at hand and not let it wander through different ideas, to different facts or different scenarios that, might distract you from actually answering that problem. Now let's go to the 4th tip. What is my 4th tip? This 4th tip is something that I have learned from no less than Conrado Valix himself. Yes, I think you might already know this, but I'm just gonna give it all to you. Learn how to squeeze in. Diba? Squeeze. Learn how to work back. Diba? Very familiar, right? Ta-da! Ito naman, this is very useful if the accounting problems are multiple choice questions. Kasi there are times when you could really not get any answer. That's the saddest part. When you press your calculator for countless times, hundreds, even thousands of times, and none of the choices appear. I think for the most part, for most people, they think that it's already the end, that they're already doomed, but no. Valix told us, or taught us, the concept of squeezing or working back. How do we do this, or why is this important? Because definitely, when a question is a multiple choice question, you have 25% chance of getting the answer, even if you just randomly guess, diba? And you want to increase that percentage of getting the answer by squeezing or working it back. How? Use your answers, diba? Use the answers. For example, letter A is 20,000, and squeeze back or work back. Think back. Why is there a choice na 20,000? What is the examiner trying to tell me? Because he added 10,000 and 10,000, which were given during the problem. But 10,000 should not be included, so A is wrong. Diba? Gets. So when you're able to squeeze or work back, here comes my 5th tip. You're able to eliminate the other choices. Diba? And how do you do this? For example, in a problem for cash, I really love cash, In a problem for cash, when we're trying to determine what are cash and what are cash and cash equivalents, and first question is, what among the following items that were given, what are cash items? So for example, letter A, you were given 25,000, letter B, 30,000, letter C, 35,000, letter D, 40,000. How do you eliminate the choices? By using squeeze or by using the art of working back. So what you need to do is to examine the logic behind every choices. For example, letter A, 25,000. Why do you think there is a 25,000? Of course, it didn't come from just anywhere. It came from the problem. Kasi meron 10,000 and 15,000 doon. Maybe the examiner just added it. But, for example, 15,000 should not be added. Kasi it is a cash and cash equivalent. It is not cash item but a cash equivalent, diba? So You already eliminated the 15,000. You already eliminated letter A. So, my fourth and fifth tips are actually interrelated because when you practice the art of squeezing or when you practice the art of working back, you're able to eliminate the choices. Now, if again, it only works if it is a multiple choice question. So, what happens is that you examine the logic behind each and every choice. Bakit yung letter A, 20,000? Because dalawang 10,000. Bakit yung letter B, 25,000? 10,000 plus 10,000 plus another 5,000. Bakit yung letter C, 35,000? Yung 10,000, 10,000, 5,000, 25 plus another 10,000. Now, after that, after you determine the composition of the answers, you examine yung 10,000 na 10,000 sa letter A, tama ba? Tama. Yung sa letter B, yung 10,000, 10,000, tsaka 5,000, tama ba? Tama din. So, dalawa na. Then, you go to, so, tama sa letter B. So, after you determine na tama pala sa letter B, yung 10, 10 at 5, na kulang pala sa letter A kasi hindi niya in-include yung 5,000, for example, then, eliminate letter A. Then, punta ka kay C. Bakit 35,000? Because there was 10,000, 10,000, 5,000, and 10,000. Tama si C. Therefore, you already eliminate letter B. Pagpunta mo kay C, tama si C. Therefore, you can already eliminate letter B. And now that you've determined that letter C, the compositions of the answer of letter C na 10,000, 10,000, 5,000, and another 10,000 are correct. Therefore, you can already eliminate letter B. So, you've already eliminated letter A, B. Now, let's go to letter D. Yung letter D, 5,000. But, you already know na letter A pa nga lang, 20,000 na, which is correct. So, eliminate mo na si letter D. Therefore, you got the correct answer. That's letter C. This is very much time-consuming, but if you really don't know the answer, if you really can't get any answer, then by all means, try every choices. Work back and examine the logic behind every choice. Bakit ganito? Mali. Diba? Because when you're trying to examine the logic behind every choice, you're able to determine what is right from what is wrong. Diba? And on the process, you're able to eliminate the choices. However, caveat guys, yung pag-squeeze and pag-work back ng questions, I only recommend that if you really don't know or you don't have any idea on how to solve the problem, or after several tries, in your calculator, wala ka pa ding makuha. I don't necessarily encourage for you to solve the problem by squeezing or working back on the get-go kasi it's very time-consuming. Kung alam mo naman yung sagot, alam mo naman yung solution, alam mo naman yung process, alam mo naman yung concepts, then by all means, wag ka na lang mag-squeeze. Wag ka na lang mag-work back. Okay? Kasi it's time-consuming for you to test and examine the logic behind all of the choices when you already know how to answer. Gets? So, pang desperate desperate times. Call for desperate measures. Char. So, ayan na. 5 na, no? My sixth tip for you is to, when you're trying to answer a problem, always trust your gut feel and avoid changing answers from time to time. I am very much guilty of this one and have been a victim of my contradictory thoughts. Alam mo yun? Like, my gut tells me that letter A is the answer, but then once I shade letter A, somewhere in my brain whispers and tells me that B. Tapos sa heart ko, C. But my gut feel tells me that it's letter A. Diba? This happens when I'm not sure, and this happens not just when I'm solving accounting problems, but also when I'm trying to answer theory questions. Kasi, especially yung theory na parang lahat sila tama, diba? You already have, meron tayong ganyan. I don't know how to explain this much further or how to elaborate this much further, but we already have that gut feel, diba? May instinct tayo na baka A, parang A ata. But then, there's the devil's advocate in us which tells us na, mali yung A, parang B. And then, at the end of the day, we follow that devil's advocate and we don't follow our instincts. And for the most parts, after we get out of the room and talk to our classmates, tama pala yung A. Tama pala yung gut feel ko. So as much as you can, always trust your gut feel and avoid changing your answers from time to time. Okay? Second to the last tip is Practice, practice, practice. Why? Because when you try to practice several problems, it widens your understanding on a particular topic. For example, you're trying to answer a problem under business combination, diba? If you try to practice, it widens the scope of your knowledge regarding the application of certain concepts on business combination. And when you widen that scope of understanding of a particular topic, you increase your chances of getting the correct answers. So make sure that you really practice, practice, practice. And I have learned the hard way at that, na in accounting, it doesn't matter if you're inherently smart or if you're inherently intelligent. It doesn't really matter kasi daig ng mahilig mag-practice ang inherent na matalino. Gets? Kasi no matter how intelligent a person is, diba? No matter how smart he is, if hindi niya na-practice mag-solve ng ganyang problem, na ganyang kahabang problem, or ng ganyang ka-complicated na straight problem, he would definitely have a difficult time answering that problem. However, ikaw na medyo average lang, but then you answered thousands and thousands of questions of accounting problems and theory questions. You're able to face a problem na na-solve mo na dati, even if the amounts were changed. Alam mo na yung process, alam mo na yung application ng concepts because you have already practiced, because na-experience mo na yung problem na yon and very familiar siya. Diba? You know, in answering accounting problems, it really helps for you to practice and practice and practice solving. I mean, minsan, there are really times when you get discouraged to answer specific problems under specific topics kasi some of them are very, very difficult. But, kebs lang, diba? Move on. If you really can't answer, then go and check the solution and examine the logic. Understand the logic. Bakit ganito yung solution? And then, probably you can mark a star, or that's what I did. I marked a star and then go back to that question. Go back to those questions that you marked a star. Meaning, hindi mo yun nasagot. Meaning, tiningnan mo lang yung solution kasi hindi mo talaga siya nasagot. Diba? Kasi when you try to practice and practice and practice, again, it widens the scope of your understanding and you get to experience solving these problems firsthand. And that is very, very important. Kasi nga, just like what I've said, in answering accounting problems, and even in the CPA board examinations, lamang ang maraming nasagutan. I swear. So as much as you can answer a lot of accounting problems, practice solving them. Okay? And we're down to my last step. And this, bakit hinuli ko siya? Because I think this is the most important. Like, it trumps all of the other tips that I have given you. Kasi pag nakuha mo na yung tip na to, pwede nang wala na yung iba. Parang ganun. Diba? Because this is one of the most important, if not the most important thing that you should consider when you're trying to answer accounting problems. And what is that? My last tip for you before we go is to always go back to the basic concepts. Yes, you heard me right. Sounds boring, diba? But it will definitely change your life. Always go back to the basic concepts. Sabi mo, sir, hindi ko din alam yung basic concepts. Doon tayo magkakaproblema. Tara! But I know, and I'm very confident that your teachers already taught you these basic concepts. Kailangan mo lang siyang i-review. And when you're trying to answer problems, or especially if you're faced with a very difficult problem, huwag ka na ma-distract with the other things na nandun, or with the highfalutin words na gano'n na nandun, or the accounting terms na hindi mo naman maintindihan. Just go back to the basic concepts. Diba? Because if you know the basic concepts behind every particular topic in accounting, then the battle is halfway done. The battle is halfway won. If you know these basic concepts, what's left for you to do is to apply them. And dun papasok si practice. Kasi it's not enough for you to just know the basic concepts. You also have to constantly practice applying them. So they actually go hand in hand. Kaya hinuli ko sila because I think they're the most important tips. So know the basic concepts, always go back to that class discussion. Or kung hindi man siya na-discuss, always go back to the letters of those standards. Ano yung sinasabi ng PAS 1 or yung sinasabi ng PAS 2? Anong sinasabi ng PFRS 9? Always go back to the basic concepts because these basic concepts are your life savers. I swear. Because no matter how difficult the problem is, I mean, on its face, it's a very difficult problem, but behind every difficult problem is a basic concept na pinahirap lang, na dinagdagan lang ng kung anek-anek para ma-confuse yung examinee. Okay? So, go back to the basic concepts. So that's it, guys. Those are my practical tips on how you can effectively and efficiently answer every accounting problem that you might face today or in the future. Diba? So I hope that this helps, and if you feel that this is very much helpful, please feel free to share this to your friends who might need to see this video. Okay, and if you like this video, please don't hesitate to like, and if you have other tips, please comment them down below because I would really love to hear it from you guys. And please click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please also click the notification bell for you to be updated for my future posts. Okay, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I really hope from the bottom of my heart that I came across and that these tips will be helpful to you as much as they were helpful to me. Alright? Again, this has been Franz, and always remember that no matter where you go, no matter what you do, no matter whom you meet, always be kind, because kindness goes a very long way. Thank you so much for tuning in, and tune in again next time for some amazing vlog. Bye-bye!